Welcome back, y'all, and happy Saturday. This is the Bluechip Breakdown, and we're your host, Bull and P. Today, we're just going to be updating you on the transfer portal for the basketball team and for the football team. A lot of things going on. Please do make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. We have some thoughts on just the whole temperature of what's going on, man. So we're going to get into several different things, but I want to start off right here, P. We're going to start with some basketball, actually. So number one, we talked about it last stream that felt like Tennessee was going to go out there and get Nate and also get Freeman. So that's 2 6'8", 6'9" wing guys. Sounds like Tennessee's still in a good spot with Nate. So he'll be coming from high school. He's a 5-star guy, one of the best players in the entire country. But doesn't sound like it kind of feels like Freeman might be leaning more towards Auburn. Now, I'm not sure on that. Something else that I've heard kind of being floated out there. I don't know how true this is either. But I have heard that Tennessee is willing to pay about $12 million for our basketball roster this season. What I had heard is that last year, it was at like $3.5 million. Have no idea if that's true or if that's false. I just kind of feel like, number one, I mean, that would be great, right? Like, we want for the team to go out and spend the money, build up the best roster that you possibly can. Feels like Coach Barnes might be starting to get it. Hey, you kind of need a superstar with the way the basketball's set up now to be able to go out there and win a championship to kind of get over that hump. I mean, Tennessee had some really good players last season. Please don't take it like I'm taking a shot at any of our. I love that team. I think that that's one of my favorite rosters. Love all those guys. But we didn't have like a real true bona fide superstar. So going out and getting Nate, that would add that. It also kind of feels like Rice, riding Rice. I don't know what's going on there either, but I've heard some smoke that maybe today, maybe tomorrow, could be on Monday. I'm actually kind of feeling like, we might hear some smoke with some players coming up tomorrow because it is Easter. Who knows? But either way, it just kind of feels like Tennessee needs to, definitely land Nate, but we need to go out and add some more players. But P, do you have any thoughts right here with how the transfer portal is going for Tennessee's basketball team?
Yeah, it's the same as you said, man. It seemed like we're in a really good spot with those top three guys for a while, but kind of recently it seems like we're potentially fading on maybe all three of them potentially. So I don't know. It could just be kind of hearsay, whatever. But I think these are three guys that we would love to be able to land. I mean, this is a roster that's wide open.
Mm-hmm.
We need some guys come in here and really basically fill our roster. So I think this would be three guys right here. You look at three difference makers here. I think Nate has a chance to be special. He needs to put on some weight. And then Freeman, we absolutely love him as well. And same with Rodney Rice. So these are three guys that hopefully we can, if we need to pony up some more money, whatever, do whatever we need to do. I'm kind of surprised though that Rice, because he was teammates with Gillespie or Gillespie, his name, and so I would fear he would want to kind of continue that. So it's kind of strange to me that we're kind of hearing that he's leaning elsewhere right now. I kind of be a lock, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So what I've been hearing is that, number one, Tennessee is not going to be his highest bid as far as NIL goes. And I'm also hearing that one of his coaches, I don't know if it was his coach from Maryland or exactly where that came from, but they went to Nova. So that's where people are thinking that he's going to end up at. I actually heard that, that is a done deal. Again, that's all speculation. Nobody knows how true any of that is until they come out, sign the paperwork and all of that. So I think that that's kind of why Tennessee is maybe not his front running school. But one of my things was like, look, if Tennessee is going to be able to go out and get Nate, which is who we're looking at right now, Nate and Freeman, along with what we've already added, why wouldn't you want to come play for a national title? Why wouldn't you want to come get yourself better, get your draft stock up? Because you're going to look really good. You can't get double team, baby, because they got to double team other folks. So you can really go to work. You can get those numbers right. You can work on your defense. That's how I was looking at it. But another part of this is kind of where I was going with it, Pete, whenever I was just talking about how Tennessee wants to spend all this money. So it would be 4 times more this season if the rumors are true compared to last year. Like I said, are we going to put some more money with football as well? So we know that the house settlement, that's supposed to be coming out here soon. Now, this is, kind of going deep, but we could talk about all these players. I think that Tennessee does have a little bit of extra leverage, but everyone else will kind of have that same leverage, I guess. But just because revenue sharing is coming. So, like, let's just say, and we could even, Nico would be a perfect person for me to talk about. It sounds like they wanted $4 million. Well, Tennessee said, okay, we're not going to pay you that as far as the, as far as the name, image, and likeness goes. But you could have waited and you could have got it from the revenue sharing, right? Because it's $20.5 million is what we think is going to happen for you to split up amongst all sports. We all know that most of that's going to go to football and basketball. Tennessee has historically been a football school. I'm thinking about 17, maybe 17 and a half. If we're going to put all this NIL money to the basketball, heck, man, why not go 18, 19 to your football team? And you can give that $2 million extra to a quarterback from that. Get them up to $4 or $5 million if that's what you have to do. So that's just kind of why I was throwing out what I said there. But anyway, go ahead.
No, I agree, man. Like, go ahead and but that's the thing. We don't really know exactly what this is going to look like in terms of the rev share. I know it is going to put a strain on us because we're a team or we're a program that likes to. We feel like we have 3, maybe even 4 big sports if you want to count women's basketball. So it is going to be
softball too, man.
Yeah, softball. So 5. I mean, we're it's like Dan White says, we'll do it all. Yeah, hockey's good.
Everything
swimming.
good.
I mean, we're breaking records in swimming. You know what I mean? Like
everything.
Everything.
Everything's cool.
Yeah, so it's going to be kind of tough for us to kind of split that up. But I mean, I agree, man. I think football. I mean, like you said, at least 17 million. You would think, at least. Kind of doesn't leave a ton for everybody else, but I mean. Heck.
I mean, shoot, they're gonna have enough. I mean, because you got to look at it. Football makes all the money. It's football and it's men's basketball. That's just what it is. Like even Tennessee's baseball team last season, coming off of a national title, they lost money. I don't remember exactly how it was, like hundreds of thousands of dollars that they lost. That's just what's real about this situation. So you have to feed that beast. Like you got to feed the actual moneymakers, I think. But so I wanted to throw it out there just because we don't know how everything's going to kind of shake out, but we can see how the roster looks currently. I think that it's pretty good. Obviously, you still need to go add several more pieces. We'll see what happens with Nate. Sounds like Tennessee's all in there, but you can't forget about the other spots, right? Like he's a big piece. You want to add him, but why can't we get him and Freeman, especially if we're willing to spend that much money? I mean, Nate must be asking for $6, $7, $8, $9, $10 million. You know what I mean? I mean, he must be asking for a ton of money.
Yeah.
So I mean, I wouldn't say that he's worth that much. I mean,
I wouldn't say so either. Yeah, I mean, I would like to see a little more pop from him. You know what I mean? I like to see a little bit more of aggressive, get to the rack, slamming it with authority. If he's going to command that, I mean, that's why I like to see more of that from his game. But I mean, he's definitely a player, no doubt. I mean, for me, and I heard Hubs and AP kind of shoot this down, but I would like to see us go get some 7-footers. I mean,
for sure.
I mean, why not?
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Well, I think that I think this because our front court, like we was just looking at that. Our front court is pretty solid. You don't want to add too many. Like we need some guards bad. I think that would probably maybe be like the only reason. And I mean, shoot, we got 2 guys that's right at 7 feet tall.
Yeah,
they're not far off.
Yeah. I'm just still a little scarred from that last time we played Florida, or the last time and the first time we played them. I mean, I feel like we were out rebounded. I just hate being out rebounded, and so give me some freaking 7-foot trees in there, and kind of patrol the paint and also get some good boards for you. I mean, that's really where I'm at. But yeah, I mean the backcourt, like you said, equally as important.
Yeah, well, shoot, I mean, Florida's got that guy that's like 7'8", 7'9". He was walking next to Felix, and I mean, he made him look like a little kid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know how good he's going to be next year. He's not he don't look goofy either. He's like a big guy. He's definitely got some size. He's like 7'8", like 360 or something astronomical. I mean, he's a huge dude. So I mean, that's going to be a problem.
But I mean, heck, you go get Freeman and Ahmet. Yeah, I mean, maybe one of those guys can play your 2 guard, and all of a sudden now you're 6'8", you're 6'9", maybe you're 6'10", you're 6'11". You know what I'm saying? Like you got 4 guys over 6'8" on the court at one time. I mean, that's also nice to see right there too. So
yeah, for sure. Let me get to some of these chats real quick. This one right here is from Todd Smith. Thank you for joining us. Saying D lineman from S. I guess you probably mean Syracuse. This one right here is from Foster. Okay, talking about the used quarterback that entered the portal. Okay, right here, VFL Willie is saying, "What's up, Bull and P? What's going on, dog? Thank y'all so much for joining us. Y'all are more than welcome to chime in at any moment." Okay, so I want to start to get into what we've been hearing. This as far as the transfer portal. So the first thing is going to be that Tennessee did lose. We did lose Aiden Bustle to the transfer portal. So he was like a 3rd string guard. He was a guy that I was really high on coming from the 2023 class. And now Tennessee has 12 of the 26 high school signees have left. Or I'm sorry, we only have 12 of them left. So, he was a guy that he never really, he never really got there. So, I wish him all the best. I just don't, that's not some huge loss. I think that we actually might have some guys that are younger that are already better than him. So, that's just what it is. That frees up some more money. We don't know how much money. Frees up some more room. I don't think that we need to go to the transfer portal and add another guard. P, what do you think about that situation?
Oh yeah, I think we're fine there, man. We love what we saw from freshman Cade Agamoro. I think we have
Yeah.
guys on the interior, Max Anderson. I mean, I think there's a number of bodies on the interior, so it's definitely not a place where we're hurting. Which is probably why he went to the portals. Is just a lot of bodies, a very dense room, just filled with a lot of good talent. So wish him all the best. We love him. A guy who bleeds orange. We saw him,
Hmm.
doing all the kind of off the field things. We'd see him at these little charity events, stuff like that, helping out the kids and stuff. So absolutely love him and wish
Hmm.
him the best. Whoever picks him up is getting a great kid, hard
Yeah.
worker, and hope he can kind of earn a spot and make a name for himself.
100%. 100%. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's start talking about some of these players, man. Some of the players that we've been hearing about that Tennessee has, has some smoke with, and we're going to start off with wide receiver. Actually, P, there really is no smoke here. I haven't heard any smoke, but I know that the fans want them. So this is Keelan Marion, okay, from BYU. And actually, I'm gonna go back so that I can kind of talk about some of his size and stats and things like that. I got to make this a little bit big so that I can see it first. But 6 feet tall, 195 pounds. Okay, he is from the A. That always stands out to me, Pete. Like I talked about it last stream. I love the guys from the South, but more so, give me the guys from the A. Give me the guys from this metro area because football is totally different here. This is the best football on the face of the planet is played here. So I know that this guy, I know that he can ball because he came from the right spot. So that's first and foremost. But you're looking at his numbers. Definitely don't wow you here. 24 catches, 346 yards, 1 touchdown. That's very similar to what most of our wide receivers had last season. But he is an older player. That's what Tennessee is looking for. You want these older veteran types of guys, just because we've already got some very talented youth inside of that room. Now, like I said, P, haven't really heard too much smoke, with this entire situation. But one of the things that I can kind of point to that we talked about previously is, listen, if the quarterback situation isn't right, it's going to be tough to go out and get a proven wide receiver. If they want to go into the NFL next season, they don't want to be playing games with, hey, we don't know how this whole thing's going to look. So it's going to be tough. We're going to have to probably overspend to get these guys to really entertain what we're trying to do here. That's just how I feel. That might be part of the reason that there hasn't been too much smoke with really anything, like, you know what I'm saying, with any of the skill players, because they are going to demand a lot of money, and things are not very proven on the offensive side. Defense should be totally different. But Pete, what are your thoughts right here?
Yeah, I agree. If it's going to be tough for us to get any receivers, I think in this portal window, unless we can go out and get a big time quarterback. I mean, that's not a knock on Merck or GMAC. It's just the fact that they haven't really played or put anything on film for these guys to feel confident. And go back to last year when we got Brazel. One of the things he mentioned was that he believed in Nico. I think Nico, he had played in the bowl game, but also there was a lot of hype around Nico, so he was going to draw guys in. I don't know if Merck or GMAC necessarily have that to them right now, where they're going to just draw guys that haven't really seen them play yet. So, yeah, I mean, we need to figure out, what's it going to take, us getting a big-time quarterback or us getting a couple of big-time receivers to maybe make some quarterbacks want to kind of, come and take a chance, because it's a huge risk. A lot of these guys are older guys. They have 1 year left. You hate to take a chance on your last go. But I like this guy as a player. I think he's athletic, can do different things, runs good routes. So I think he'd be a good piece. I think he'd fit in pretty seamlessly with our offense. So we'll love to be at Adam, but I think it's kind of a long shot.
Yeah, I mean, he's an inside outside guy. I know we say that pretty much all the time, but that's pretty much what's out there. I'm still looking for one of these bigger outside threats. But it probably wouldn't hurt to have someone that's very versatile. They can play inside, play outside. You know what I'm saying? That's got pretty much all the tools that you're looking for. So the next player that I want to talk about is another wide receiver. All right. And this guy right here, he's from Florida State, and his name is Hakeem Williams. So right here, listed at 6'2". He's about, closer to 6'3", 215 pounds, 16 catches, 187 yards from last season, 1 touchdown. So he's a guy that, for me, younger player, I guess it would be a junior next season, but there's not a whole lot to see from his film. And actually, there was something that I wanted to kind of point to on that last film from the pistol. We might actually go back to that because this is something I just want to show you how versatile that pistol can be. But just watching him on film, he's a guy that can make, like those tougher catches. He can kind of body you. So almost like a Brew. I don't even know if he would be as explosive as Brew was last season. But Pete, what do you think about him and in his game, how he might fit into the team?
Yeah, I mean, you look at since Heupel's been here, we've always had at least one receiver about his size. Go back to Sector Tillman, then Brew McCoy. This year, it was first year we're heading into it without really a guy of his stature. So I think he's a guy that would fit in well with what Heupel likes to do in Halsley and that whole bunch. So I mean, I think he's a guy we got a shot to go get. I like his smile. I think he runs good routes for his size, how big he is, and physical. He runs good routes. You see him make some tough catches on film, but also you'll see a couple times on this film where he makes kind of some easier catches look tough. So I wonder if that's the reason why you haven't seen him maybe play more and put up more numbers. I'm not sure how consistent his hands are. So that's kind of something I would like to maybe watch his full game film and really break him down. I'm sure how you did, but just kind of wonder how consistent his hands really are. But like him as a prospect, I think it's a guy worth adding.
Yeah, so I can tell you that he only had one drop last season. He caught
there it was right there,
like 95% of his catches, and then kind of going back to Keelan from BYU, he was at like 92 or 93%. So he only had 2 drops last season, right? So actually, I'm gonna go back to Keelan because there is something there that I do want to kind of highlight, and it might take us a little while to even find it in here. But I'm gonna see if I can't scrape through.
And that's the thing too. I mean, these are 2 teams that probably didn't have great quarterback play last year either. So I had to consider that when looking at the stats.
Yeah. I mean, they're not. They're not. Well, I mean, shoot. Sometimes you kind of overlook the fact that, hey, man, Tennessee's in. We're kind of in that spot right now. We have unproven quarterbacks that we think are talented, but they're just not proven. So I'm still scraping through y'all, but I will find this. I want to show y'all something out of this. Here it is right here. So this right here, this is in the pistol, okay? And you're going to see this is where Keenan's lined up at. This is why the pistol can be deadly. You can put guys like Boo Carter back there. You can put your Braylon Staley's, your Mike Matthews. You can put, whoever, right? So that's just something I did want to kind of point out, that little things like that can make a huge difference in Tennessee's offensive scheming. I know that some people may not always understand what we're talking about with the film breakdowns and things like that, but we did, a few days ago, we showed you the difference between the 2022 play calling compared to 2024. And we might have to, I don't know what we have to do, but I do understand that not everyone, sometimes we say things and not everyone's going to grasp some of these concepts, and you might not fully get it. So I'm going to work a little bit harder to make sure that what I'm saying is something that everyone can grasp. But I just kind of wanted to throw that out there. That sometimes, hey, you might not get what we're saying, but you can always just ask those questions, and we'll do our best to kind of get back to you. All right, so let me go to the next player, P. Who would you like to go to here, man? You want to go to the defensive line?
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, we got a few prospects there.
All right, so let's check out Mason Babyface Nelson. So, I don't know if that's really what his nickname is. I just call him that.
Okay.
Either way, this is the guy, man. He is from Western Michigan. Okay, 6'1", 310 pounds, and he does play defensive tackle. So he's coming from a lower classification. But I think that P, you and I were both kind of surprised. I would say pleasantly so. And whenever we watch this daggum film. Seeing him here, I think that he's probably more of your 0 tech, 1 tech, 2 tech. I wouldn't call him a 3 by any means, but I think that he's got a pretty good motor. He's got a pretty good twitch to him. He's a guy that should be able to clog up gaps. Pretty strong at the point of contact. But what do you think about him, Pete?
Yeah, he's a solid player. I think he's your prototypical depth piece, in my opinion. I think he's a guy that comes in. He's not a guy that's going to pop off tape, not going to wow you, but a guy that can come in and can give you some good solid minutes, some good solid snaps, not get moved off the ball. When I look at D lineman, that's the first thing I'm looking at is, does this guy get moved? And he doesn't really get moved. I mean, he can hold his point, and he shows a decent amount of burst. Like I said, good motor. I think he's a guy that's really going to benefit from a Coach Gardner. I think he'll really get the most out of a guy like this. So I mean, he's a piece. I think if we can add him, that'd be a good piece to add, and he'd be a guy that'd be in that probably 2 or 3 deep rotation for sure. Like he'll probably be ahead of like a Wallace. I think he may even push past Nate Robinson. I mean, he's going to be up there. I think he'll be one of the first guys off the bench. So it would be a good piece to have.
Yeah, that's really, I think that's more what Tennessee's looking for. If you could find a starter, then maybe. But at the same time, we like to rotate guys so much. We just need some more bodies so that we can stay fresh there. If they can give us, 15, 20 snaps a dadgum game at full speed, give us everything that you got right there, then you know what I'm saying? Like we feel fine there. But he's supposed to be coming up at some point early, I think, next week. So I don't know, just some point early. So we'll see if Tennessee can close out here. But yeah, I think that he also looks pretty good as far as his pass rush. So I think what he had 2 sacks or something last season.
2 or 3, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was something like that. So he's a guy that, I mean, obviously these tackles, they're typically not going to be overly twitchy. They're not really pass rush specialists, but just the simple fact that they have a little bit of that to their game, obviously on top of number one, stopping that run, that's really, really big for me. And you just really want to be able to kind of like push that pocket, make the quarterback get off of their spot. That should help those edge players, right? Or linebackers blitzing, safeties blitzing, cornerbacks blitzing, whoever. That should help them to be able to make a play. So that's more of what you look for there. And actually, P, I want to go back to one of these older ones. We talked about this before. I don't know if everyone's seen this just yet, but Cam Rice, right? So he's another guy. He did visit us last week, and I really like his game. For me, he could play 3. He could probably play anywhere up front outside of Leo, but really, really like his game. But P, I would like to get your thoughts too.
Yeah, absolutely love him, man. Quick twitch. I mean, he's a guy. So this guy to me, he does pop off the film. I think you see the quick twitch ability from him, the ability to bend, strike with his hands, nimble, shows athleticism as well. I think he's a guy, he would have really been nice to add. He's a guy that I think would have been pushing potentially as to go in as a 1. I mean, I don't know if he would pass. I'm not going to assume anybody's going to pass up Eason. I'm not going to assume anybody's going to pass up Moy, but I mean, he'd probably be that second guy. I mean, similar to Omar Norman a lot, like, yeah, he's your second guy, but heck, he might be better than the first guy. You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of the type of guy he is. So I don't know. So did he commit somewhere already, or?
I haven't heard that just yet. I just know that we didn't, he didn't end up pulling the trigger with Tennessee just yet. So I don't know. Like I said, and P, you tell me how you feel about it, but I think that Tennessee might want to go add 2 defensive tackles, especially if you're looking at how the quarterback thing is kind of playing out, right? Like you say, okay, well, let's go build up some other spots. Like we're already strong here, but let's get even stronger. Like let's turn our strengths into super strengths, and maybe that can make up for what could potentially be some slack in other areas. But do you feel that kind of like?
Yeah, I think so. I think you look at the way this roster is setting up. I mean, it could be a deal where we've gotten unhyped the past couple seasons about kind of leaning too much on his defense. Like, hey, don't forget your offense. Hey, we want an offense that's putting up 7 points a game. Yeah. Offense may take a step back this year. This may be the year where he does need to play the way he's played the past couple of years, be a defense first, run first type team. I think the more bodies you can add, then obviously the better that's going to bode. Because hey, if the offense goes 3 and out, 4 or 5 times in a row, it's going to be nice. We can roll out 3 or 4 rotations of D tackles that are no drop off. You know what I'm saying? So
fresh body.
I think 2 would be nice to add for sure, a D tackle.
Okay. All right. So we're going to get on to the next one. What do I want to get to next? All right. So we're going to go to right here, man. Mr. Watson from Syracuse. And hold on, this thing. Let me go back because that went a little bit too fast for me. But so 6'3", 313 pounds. All right, tackles their numbers are not going to be great. He had 1 sack last season, but I think that he played well. Like he was one of the best players in his conference from last season. So he's one that I definitely think that he's good. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't look at him either and say, hey, he's going to start. I don't think that he's there. I just think that he's a solid piece. He's a solid second string guy. Bring him in off of the bench. He's not super huge either. We're gonna get to a player that's got better size, but 313 pounds. Just as a point of reference, Bryson Easton is like 316 is what he's listed as, and he's a guy who he was like what like our 4th biggest lineman last season, something like that.
Probably, yeah.
But right now, I think that he is our biggest until Charles House gets up on campus. So I would love to add some bigger bodies, but I guess it's not the biggest deal. But I think that he's got a pretty solid game. Pete, what you think?
Yeah, man. I think, especially considering, I don't know if he was a true freshman last year or just a redshirt, but I mean, true freshman.
That is true too. Yeah, I didn't think about that.
You consider him as a true freshman. I actually like what he did a lot. I mean, imagine getting this type of production from like a Isaiah Campbell or Ethan Nutley. He actually reminds me a lot of how I, in my head, am envisioning Charles House being when he's
oh wow.
I imagine him being very similar to this guy day one. So I like him a lot, just in terms of, you got 2 years out of him at least, unless you transfer something like that. So I think he's a guy, man, potentially could put on a little more weight, could potentially be, fill that Elijah Simmons role, maybe get up to like 330 or something like that. I mean, I don't know really what he wants to do with his body, but I mean, I think you look at him as being a young guy and what he did last year as a true freshman. I think there's a lot of upside to him, but yeah, like as far as the production last year and what you're seeing on film, it doesn't pop off at you. But what we say earlier, first thing to look at with this D lineman is, are those guys getting moved? He doesn't get moved. He holds the point, would be a great option to be a rotate off the bench. And like I said, just love his upside overall. I think he could be special down the road.
Yeah, I mean, and you know what? Something else too is like looking at Syracuse defense. They're playing some of the same fronts that Tennessee likes to play. You know, you're seeing the Okie fronts. You're seeing a couple of tight fronts. You know, you're seeing a whole lot of under and things like that. So he's going to be, and he's playing different techniques. Again, P, that was a great point. Just talking about him being a freshman last season. You know what I'm saying? Like that most definitely for me. You know, that is that does kind of speak volumes. And Tennessee is in a good spot with him. So it sounds like right now it is us, UGA. Sounds like it's the Buckeyes. And I don't remember if it was Texas is one of those other schools, but
I think it was Texas.
Yeah, so Tennessee is up there, and that's always a very, very positive thing. Now, and you know what? We'll see. Like, we got to get them up on campus. We got to get them to visit and things like that. But, you know, hopefully Tennessee has enough money that we can, you know, hopefully we can get him to want to, you know, pull that trigger. So this is the wrong one. Let me get to the correct one that I'm trying to pull up here. I've got so many of them in here. All right, so this is the next guy that I want to talk about. This is another tackle. This is Joel Stallings. I'm sorry, Starling. So you know, you can see his size 6'4", 320. This is another rising sophomore or redshirt freshman. Not a whole lot, right? Just as far as the stats and things like that, but I love his size. That's what we need is these bigger guys. Like give me the big body, you know, clog up a gap, show me a little bit of burst, show me some twitch. He actually looks like a young Big O in some ways, P. But, you know, what are your thoughts here?
Man, love him. I think his film is different than any of his other guys. I think he's got a different level of pop off the ball. It's in my opinion, and I didn't realize he was even a freshman. I didn't realize he's a freshman. I mean, we gotta go get this guy, man. I think you throw the book at him. I mean, whatever you got, throw it at him. I think this guy's going to be an absolute stud. I mean, and this is his true freshman film. We're watching it. This guy's got a different level of burst than I think the previous few guys we saw. And oh, by the way, he's also the biggest. Yeah, this is a guy's a must get in my opinion. I like him a lot, and I think we're in a pretty decent spot for him right now, if I'm not mistaken. So hopefully we can bring him on in. But yeah, I love his film probably the best out of any of the guys we've looked at so far.
So if you could pick two of these guys, who would you pick and do it in order, like just in case we only have one?
If I could pick two, it'd be this guy and then probably the guy from Ohio.
Okay.
Just because now it gives you two different types of guys. I think the Ohio guy is similar to like an Omar Normalat, your pass rush guy, your interior pass rush guy. And then that guy right there, I think he's your kind of do it all guy, but he's also going to give you long term. You got 2 years out of him, probably at least. And I think he'll be a stud coming up this season, and definitely his junior year he'll be an absolute stud. Probably first round. I think he'll be a first round guy just from what I see on his film. I mean,
that's saying a lot. So I would say for me, I'd take the guy from Syracuse, and I would take Cam Rice. You know, those are the guys I would personally want. So let me get to some of these chats, man. We're gonna let this orange and white game roll while we're getting to some of these chats. So let me get to this one right here. This one is from G Money 24 saying that didn't get to see anything on spring game. How did the quarterbacks look? So you can see it right here. You know, I think that they looked okay. You know, I think the GMAC probably looked better than Merck did, but at the same time, it's just a spring game. You can't take everything from it. I'm looking for more of the like consistencies. P, how do you think that they did?
I think they did solid. I think they both were accurate on the deep ball, which I think is a good thing. Even the pick I was watching, I think maybe yesterday. You know, we rewatched these things so many times, guys. You guys wouldn't believe it. But I was rewatching the spring game again yesterday, I think it was, and even the pick that Merck threw was actually a very well thrown ball. Like, it was right on the money.
Do you think it was? So
it was a bad decision.
I don't think that one was good. Just because he threw it more to the middle of the. I think that if you're going to throw that, you got to throw it more to the. You either have to look that safety off hard, or you got to throw it more to the sideline.
Well, like I said,
hung it up over the middle.
Just like I said, let's kind of ignore safety. Like just imagine, like he's running that route on the air. There's really not really any defenders. Like it was going to hit him in stride. Like it was an accurate pass. Whereas we saw like last year, we're overthrowing a lot. I mean, like they've been pretty accurate on deep. They haven't been really overthrowing. So that's a good sign. Now, Merck did miss some kind of intermediate throws on some curl routes and things like that. And but I think he'll be fine. Like we talked about, man, it was a lot for these guys that just found out 24 hours, prior that, hey, you guys are 1-2 right now. You know what I'm saying? Like it was a lot for them mentally, probably to process. But I think GMAC kind of handled the day a little bit better, showed a little bit more moxie, a little bit more savviness. But I don't think Merck played terrible. You know what I mean? So we'll see. we'll kind of see. But I think they had a solid day overall. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's get this right here from Unsung. Okay. So yeah. So with that, man, I mean, you know, we kind of said that same thing too. Like, you can look at him and like, unless he's coming here just to be a backup, he's not starting caliber. And you know, we'll take a look at some quarterbacks here in just a minute. I just think that would be a total. I mean, I don't even know how to even. I'm just gonna say I think that'd be a total waste of time, energy, and effort. If you're gonna do that, just go and get GMAC and call it a day. I mean, go and get what's the guy from last year? Gaston. Yeah. Go and get Gaston and call it.
Is he available?
I don't know. Not, man. I mean, shoot, just throw some extra money at him. I mean, you should have plenty. You know, like we got revenue sharing. You just lost, whatever, $2.5 million. Sounded like we were going to have some boosters that were going to try to be spiteful and spend some money. I'm not really seeing it just yet. I mean, now it doesn't mean that they're not working, because I'm sure that they're working on guys that are already at, that are still, still at different schools. So no one's going to come out and say, hey, we're over here tampering. Look at us. Nobody's going to do that. But at the same time, at what point do you say, hey, this is a total waste of our time too? Because we need to go out and get something. Like, we need to go get some people. So if these people are playing hardball, okay, just stay there, dude. And we're just gonna go to this season. We're gonna go find some other people, because we don't have time for that. We only have until next week to to get somebody in the portal, I guess. But all these people who we're talking about, they're gonna be taking business. Everyone else is trying to get them too. So you can't sit on your hands like we did in that previous portal, or we're gonna be in a really, really bad spot. Okay, so this is from VFL Willie. Sorry to keep you waiting, saying that I heard the GMAC looked good in the team portion and Mark looked good in the 7-on-7s. Yeah, so I think the dude was just kind of getting back to one of the other ones. But yeah, I mean, obviously you got to look good in live action. You know what I'm saying? Like the 7-on-7 stuff, that is great, but I need to see you do it when it counts. I need to see that you're going to rise up to that moment, and they have all summer to prove that they can do it. So this one right here is from Ebcall, saying, I think that we could also go and get Boston College's Jacob Robinson, since he is in the portal for a quarterback competition. So P, that's not the guy who you was talking about, was it?
No, I'm talking about things at Florida State now. The Tommy Castellanos, whatever his name is.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much where we're at, P. It's like, do you think that Tennessee basically needs to go out and try to find a backup, or are you still? I mean, So let's say it this way. At what point do you think that if Tennessee doesn't have any real smoke, like somebody, some starting quarterback has entered the transfer portal, at what point do you say, okay, we got to go look elsewhere, because we need a quarterback body and we just need to get a backup?
Man, it's tough to know, because I mean, how are these guys going to play it? Like, I mean, are they going to, want to pretty much already have a deal in place before they enter? You know what I mean? Like, it's pretty much a done deal. As soon as they enter, boom, they're done. Like, or is it going to be a deal where, hey, they wait till the 12th hour? You know what I mean? They wait until Friday or whatever the deadline is, and then they say, okay, we're going to enter in now, and then they have however long before we, actually sign them. Like, I don't know how you look at that. I just think you reach out to these guys, reach out to your Avery Johnsons, your the guy from Iowa State, the guy from Baylor. Reach out to these guys. What are they saying? Is it like, are you getting the vibe that it's completely not going to happen? Because if you can't get any of those type of guys, then yeah, I mean, heck, at the end of the day, get your guy, compete. Like, honestly, the guy from Notre Dame, I mean, he's a guy that could come in and, like you said, back up, but potentially could maybe push the other guys, like, I mean, heck, I would settle for him if we can't get a freaking starter, you know what I mean? But he's not a guy that's going to come in here and move the needle. So I don't know what point you draw that line. But I'm actually
gonna pull his stuff back up, P, because I'm gonna tell you, I don't think that he could push either one of them. I honestly, no way, dude. I mean, let me. Yeah, I mean,
what is he? He's the same. Is he? What is he? He's like a junior, isn't he?
I don't. Let me see. So this will tell us. Yeah. So he's a junior. I guess he'd be like a rising senior. I mean, you can watch him. You can tell me what you think. Yeah. I'm gonna get to some of these chats. Oh, I'm sure that you've already seen them, but I'm gonna get to some of these chats. Yeah. So this right here is from Kevin Smith, saying that he doesn't think that rev sharing is going to hit this year. I can't. Okay, yeah. So this is the thing, is that it is supposed to hit this year. Like, it's supposed to start this summer. So it is. It's going to hit this year. It's just a matter of when are they going to totally finalize it. I'm not quite sure when that's going to happen. But either way, it's going to be implemented this season, like, for sure. I'm not going to say 100% for sure, but 99.99999% sure. And as far as any pushback, I don't know what type of pushback there would be. I think that it would either be this or, you're going to have to keep on asking these boosters and donors to spend up all this money. And obviously it sounds like they, came to the higher ups and they said, look, y'all need to do something, or okay, you could actually put these kids on a real payroll, which is what they need to do. So, I was watching this thing, P, with Greg Sankey and all those other guys, sitting up there like some mafia bosses or something, and just talking a bunch of nothing. Just like, oh, we want to get this transfer portal fixed because of the educational purposes. Dog, y'all don't care nothing about the education for these kids. So stop this fakery. Understand, like, we know what's really going on. Y'all are getting pushback from the coaches, from the ADs, from everybody else. And yeah, it's common sense. Like, you can't just have players transferring all the time, but there's nothing that you can do. And in this video, I think that there were, up at Capitol Hill, I think that they're trying to get some type of a pass from Congress or something, instead of doing the correct thing. They will do everything except for the right thing. And then they put that on us as fans. They get us all riled up about stuff. They get us mad at the wrong folks. Oh, this player shouldn't be getting paid. They shouldn't be. No. They need to have some real rules in place. Like, they're being overly greedy up at the top. And once they stop doing that, we can all enjoy college football and the kids can get paid the way that they're supposed to be getting paid. But, and I'm not saying that to like go off on anybody, so please don't take it that way. But I get fired up about it because this whole thing, it is so frustrating to me. I'm so frustrated. Like, I was talking to P, I talked to my nephews, and I said, listen, UGA is coming up to Knoxville this season. If they win that game, they will tie our streak of 9 games in a row. And if they had this stuff together, I wouldn't even be worried about that one. Now I got to start to worry. Now I got to, I'm stressing out. I'm not on the staff. It's frustrating because they could very easily do it, but they're just choosing not to. You know what I'm saying? The coaches will be perfectly fine with it. The coaches don't care. And if they do care, Nick Saban, then they stop coaching. All right, if you're mad about players getting paid, then get your ass on up out the game. Go sit on TV and talk about football. You know what I mean? Like, that's what you need to do, because you should never want to hinder people from making money. That is crazy to me. Like, you should never want to hinder people from finding success in life, period. It's mind-blowing to me. Yeah. So anyway, I guess I got that on. I got that on my but just because it frustrates the hell out of me. Okay, all right. So let me see what else we got.
I agree.
Let me see. So this one right here is from Reezy. Saying that I'm starting to really get worried about the quarterback situation. Feels like we are royally screwed. I mean, it just really all depends. I think we've got 2 very talented quarterbacks that are young. We've just that's the thing that I guess is scary for all of us, is that we just don't know. We know that these guys can play, but we don't know, will they live up to the moment? Like, will we all kind of just get it right? And the same thing can be said about wide receivers. Very talented room, but they just haven't played that much. So we might kind of go through some lumps. This was a bad season to, start off with Syracuse, which I felt like before that was a pretty easy game. Now we don't know, but we will see. I think that we're going to get it figured out. We got dogs inside of that locker room. I'm not saying that Tennessee is going to be, that we're going to run the daggum tables. I don't know if that's going to happen, but I think that, if we can win the games that we're supposed to win, and if we can, maybe sneak out one that maybe we wouldn't be, favored in, if we can sneak out one, we still have a chance to, kind of hit on all of our goals. And by the end of the season, I think that this team's going to look really good. I just think that these guys need to get some live reps. But P, what do you think about it?
Yeah, I agree, man. I think we just need some live reps. This team will get better as they go, because they're such a young team, so much inexperience. But yeah, I mean, I think as far as the quarterback position goes, man, like you said, we just don't know. I mean, we like the upside and the potential of a GMAC and of a Merck, like what we've seen from them in practice, but we just haven't really seen them in a moment where it counts. So until we see that, we're not really going to feel comfortable with these guys. And so hopefully, we can come out there week 1 against Syracuse. Those guys, whoever's the starter, can light it up and can really build some confidence moving forward, because I mean, we're going to need these guys, man. I got a feeling that these are going to be it's going to be one of those 2 will be our guy. So, do you feel like one of those 2 can lead you to a national title? I mean, maybe, but I mean, the main thing is, can they go out there and beat the teams that we should beat? And like you said, maybe upset a team that people don't really give us much of a chance against. And, we'll see. I know GMAC's a gamer. Merck's a little more reserved of a guy, personality-wise, because you kind of like your quarterbacks to almost be a little bit of an a-hole type guy. You know what I mean? A little bit of a jerk. You kind of like that about him, a little bit of that arrogance. I know GMAC has it to him. Does Merck have it to him? We'll see. But I feel like they'll rise to the occasion. Hopefully.
Yeah. So this right here, this is Joey Aguilar. Okay, so this is the guy. I've seen a whole lot of folks kind of talking about him. We did bring him up before on maybe one of the other streams or other videos or whatever, but I wanted to bring him back up just because people are asking, how do we, or I guess people really aren't necessarily asking us, but people have been talking about it. Like how would we feel about going out and getting him now that Nico's going to his school? I think, well, P, I've kind of already given my thoughts in the previous one. What do you think about that?
So I'll be honest, I haven't really watched him play. I know he, set some records at App State, which is, they always do a pretty good job down there playing ball. Supposedly he's, pretty talented kids, got some good upside to him. Without having really seen this film, is kind of what I'm seeing now. I mean, I'll be open to it if you can't go get one of these big name guys. I would rather have him than a guy from Notre Dame.
For sure.
And so we'll see if this guy can come in. I think he's another guy that could push. I don't think he's your guaranteed starter, right? Like an Avery Johnson. He's coming in, he's your guaranteed starter. This guy, he's going to compete for it. But that would be kind of ironic to go and pretty much just do a trade. They get Nico and we get Aguilar. So we'll kind of see how it works out. I don't know if he's open to it. From listening to what his coach said he's still locked in. So we'll kind of see how it plays out.
Really? Okay, because I've seen stuff, and you never know what's true and what's false, but I've seen that they're trying to shop him around. That since they heard that Nico was coming, that they've been trying to shop him around, which would make sense. He's an older guy. Why would he want to go somewhere just to sit on the bench? And I'm sure that they're probably trying to push him out too, because Nico's trying to get more money than what they were offering him. So they're probably gonna have to wait for him to leave. So and I think that their spring game might be today. Is it today? It's something. I think it's coming up here pretty soon. But either way, right here. So this question is just basically saying that even if we get a really good quarterback, one, it's taking some time to get to learn the system and all of that. Yes, it still will. But obviously, if you have a quarterback with a really high ceiling, then they have a better opportunity to learn the system and to be able to go and ball. Because I think that Tennessee is going to need a quarterback that can get us out of some games, right? I know that people say that, well, Nico didn't win any games for us last season. I would say that Alabama game, Nico played very well in. He didn't play perfect, but in the second half, he did some really nice things. Tennessee has a pretty solid roster, but if you look at our roster on paper compared to just a lot of the SEC programs, it's, ours is not as strong. It doesn't mean that the rankings and ratings are always correct. And I know that video stopped. I'm about to pull up another one. Actually, let me see if I can get that on about there. All right, so I'm about to pull up another one here. But yeah, that's just kind of how I feel about it, right? Like that would probably maybe give us the best chance to win. But P, how do you feel about that? I know that we've kind of gone back and forth. We've kind of talked about that, 2 or 3 times. But would you just rather have a guy that's an absolute baller playing a quarterback, but a short, limited time to learn the system, or would you rather, just see us go out and get some type of a backup and it's kind of ride with Gaston Moore, or not Gaston Moore, but with Merck and them, because they already know Tennessee system and there's no real learning curve.
I would rather. At the end of the day, I think perfect scenario is we get Avery Johnson. We get Avery Johnson and we play, learn what you can. Heck, seriously, think about it. We'll just say we go sign him. We'll say we sign him tomorrow. How long is it going to take him to get to campus? I assume he'd be there in a couple of days, right?
No, so because he still has to finish out school.
He's got to do all that. So when would he get here? June? May?
Probably, yeah, May.
Even still, heck, you got May. You got what's after May? May, June, July. You got about 3 months, maybe 4 months. Heck, how much time do you need? You know what I mean? You're in the playbook all day, every day. You're staying over Coach Halsey's house. You're staying over Coach Heupel's house. You're going to know this system and be ready to rock and roll. So, yeah, I would take a guy like this over, like you said, over maybe a Gatsmore who he already knows the system, but doesn't have quite the same ability. I'd rather have a guy like this who, he's got to learn it from scratch, 3 months. But, yeah, heck, sky's the limit with him.
Yeah, that is true. But obviously, he's not even a realistic option. You know what I'm saying? Like he's not even a realistic option. So we don't even want to get hopes up for real. But yeah, it's it's nice. Yeah, man. I had to get that one off my chest. I'm so sick of seeing it. It's just selfishness for real. All right, so let me see about this one right here. I'm gonna try to. All right, so this one right here is from Andrew, always saying that he doesn't get it. Nico was also an unproven redshirt freshman last year who played decently, and we won 10 games. Why is everyone freaking out? We have two talented quarterbacks and a talented defense. And I'm gonna have to make this small so I can see the rest of it. Okay, so that's it. So I would say this, and I understand what you're saying, but the difference in the very talented level is it's like Nico is on such a different level just from a sheer talent perspective. And I don't think that people really fully understand his ceiling is astronomically high. And I was also talking to my nephews, I was telling them this too. We've had to go. I think Faison is going to be really good. I think that all the guys that we have are really good. For me, there isn't a guy that I've looked at that I'm saying, hey, his talent level is like Nico's in any class outside of Arch Manning, all the way up to the 2028 class with Champ Mons. He's the only other guy that I've seen that I say that his talent level, his ceiling with his talent level is like Nico's. Nobody else is like that. So yes, they could come out and have very good seasons, but we also have a totally different team. So we've got some newer offensive linemen, like they will be new to, I guess, starting, right? They're not very new to just playing. So I think that the offensive line will be better. So that is a very, very positive thing. We don't have Dylan Sampson. And, I don't know. I mean, maybe we do, but we don't know that for sure. I didn't even think that we had Dylan Sampson last. Like, I didn't think that we was going to get that version of Dylan Sampson last season, but he was unbelievable. Like, there was a lot of things that he was doing too that was just great. So to try to replicate a running back that, is our new leading touchdown or new rushing touchdown leader. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like that's a pretty tall task. So I think that Tennessee will be fine with the new guys that are playing at skill positions because they don't got to get down into the funk, but once you start to talk about the guys that have to get into the funk, talking about linemen, like front seven players, you need some veterans. Tennessee's defense, we've got some older guys up front with maybe like the first couple of waves, but after that, it's going to be a whole lot of youth. So and that is a little bit concerning to me because you need grown man strength going up against grown men. So I just think that Tennessee's team last season, we had so many 5th, 6th, 7th year seniors playing up front that people, I think people just overlook it. Now, I'm not saying that we can't get it done. That's just kind of, I guess, like those are some of my holdups for it. But Pete, what do you think about it?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely understand his point. I mean, we kind of talked about this, I think maybe a little bit before the show. We talked about, as far as Nico in his first year, in terms of just his pure production, 2,600 yards, how many touchdowns, that in and of itself isn't necessarily going to be hard to replace. I mean, I could definitely see G-Mac or Merck throwing for 2,600 yards. I mean, I could see that. But I think the things you talked about is really kind of what we're getting at. Like we're losing a lot of experience. We're losing Squirrel. We're losing Brew. We lost Dante. We lost a lot of experience. Losing our entire O-line. And then now you're factoring in, oh, by the way, we got a first-year quarterback who hasn't really played at all. I think that really adds to it because we were kind of counting on Nico to be the veteran in the room now. Now he can kind of correct a lot of wrongs. He's got a year experience under his belt and, using his legs. His athleticism also is another factor. Like he's just freaky athletic. So, he's a guy that, like, even when plays didn't work out, busted plays, he could still make you right even when you're wrong as far as a play caller. So I think that's really what the concern is we don't really know G-Mac or Merck athletically if their guy can get out of bad situations. And of course their lack of experience is going to be an issue as well. But yeah, I mean, I think in terms of production, I can see either one of those guys throwing over 2,600 yards and, 20 touchdowns. I mean, I can see either one of them doing that. So yeah. I kind of agree with what he's saying there.
Yeah. Yeah. I understand it too. It's just, we're just going to have to see. And actually, Pete, I want to get into this real quick. So I want to go back to the orange and white game and see if we can maybe, pick up on a couple of things here. So actually, this looks like this is when David Sanders is in at right tackle. But, excuse me, I just think that Tennessee's offense, the way that we call plays, it's going to have to it's going to have to change some. Like we're going to have to make sure that we are fitting it to our quarterback skill sets. And their skill sets are different than what Nico's was. Now, I think that G-Mac, he's very similar in several ways to what Nico was. I think that he can make all the throws that, Nico could. But he's still really young. He's going to, man, listen, I think that if G-Mac gains you about 15, 20 pounds, he might end up winning that job. That's not a shot at Merck. But, Merck could also, man, if Merck looks at this thing differently because, like you had said, Pete, you know what I'm saying? He didn't think that he was going to be potentially the guy for this team leading up to this game that we're looking at here, right? So I guess he probably knew maybe this morning or the morning of this orange and white game. So maybe he handles things a little bit differently. Maybe he goes to work a little bit differently. You see what I'm saying?
I think that was an accurate ball there. It just was a bad decision. It's a bad decision.
Yeah.
Like, it's just a bad decision. I mean, like, he's hit him in stride there.
Yeah.
It's just a bad decision.
Got that safety right there.
Yeah. He shouldn't have thrown it. Yeah, he shouldn't have thrown it.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So I most definitely feel you with that. So I mean, yeah, let me see. How far was that pass to? Let's see. Does he throw this effortlessly? Throwing off his back foot. What is that right there, P? That's
40 yards.
45 yards. That's a 40 for C. That's
opposite hash, though, outside the hash. So, I mean, it's probably in air about 50 yards, maybe.
Okay, so it's probably about a 50-yarder in air.
Yeah.
Let's see what he's doing here. We got a little pressure coming.
Yeah, well, that's pretty easy throw. Didn't put too much on.
Yeah. So that is true. So we'll see. It's just going to be so different. You know what I mean? Like, it's just going to be so different. Like, I'm so used to coming into every single game, and it's like, man, like, we might have a hole here or a hole there, but we got a baller. Like, we got a guy that can at any moment he could just turn it on. So we'll see. There's something maybe change with the scheme here, and maybe it looks a little bit better. But, I did kind of talk about Dylan Sampson. I said, well, we probably don't have one of those, but can we do it with 3 or 4 of those guys, maybe even all 5 of those guys, right? Just because I would also like to see us rotate our running back room a lot more. Wouldn't you, Pete?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, I think you look at we didn't see Morris in this game, did we? Or did we see him at all in this game? But, yeah, I mean, I think but Baker, true freshman, he looked really good in this game. I mean, he's a guy. Yeah, so I think he's right up there with the rest of those guys. So, I mean, definitely, Starr, and then obviously Peyton and Deshaun Bishop. I think if you look at how this team is kind of built now with having an inexperienced quarterback once again, but a guy that doesn't have as much ability maybe as a Nico, I think you say, hey, let's run the daggone ball this season and set up play action. And we've always been a run first team, but I think you maybe even up that a little bit more this year. Like, really hammer it home and rotate, get all 4, maybe even all 5 of those guys in the game. And
so hold on one second. I just want to point out to everybody, this is a nice looking pass right here from Merck. Like, these are types of passes that he's going to have to make. On that dig there. And I think if that was fully live, maybe a play could have been made on that football. But that gives me some hope too. But sorry about that, Pete.
Oh no, yeah. I mean, and I agree, man. Merck, I mean, he throws a pretty good ball. I think he struggles on maybe throwing it outside the numbers. Seems like trying to hit those quick screens and some of those curls outside the numbers he struggled with. But like, his deep ball is pretty accurate. So I think that's something. If Heupel can continue to do what he always does, which is get guys wide open down the field, which even last year we didn't really like the offense last year, but you still had guys open down the field. I think Merck, he has a chance to be able to hit those at maybe a higher clip than Nico did. So that could be a positive, could lead to some big plays. So I think we'll be fine. I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, so I'm going to get to this one right here, saying that this whole talent level ceiling argument is okay. Most of the best quarterbacks of all time were like 3-star guys. The 5-star high ceiling guys barely ever pan out. So by those standards, what you're saying is Tennessee should have gone out and got a 3-star quarterback and said, this is the guy, instead of taking the guy with more talent. Now, come on, hindsight's always 20/20. And there is something to be said because, listen, Peyton Manning, he was a 5-star guy. How did his whole deal go? Great. I could name you a whole lot of 5-star, 4-star blue chip caliber quarterbacks these days that have panned out very, very, very well. Now, that was true back in the day. If you look here in recent times, the good quarterbacks are typically panning out. Okay, like, and it doesn't always have to be the number 1 quarterback. But I'm saying when they're rated high, these guys are not missing too much with the quarterback. The thing that happens with all players is that you've got a long, it's more about the off the field stuff. That's really what will say, hey, you're going to make it, you're not. And you also will need some luck. You got to stay healthy. Sometimes that's not, you can't stop that. But you got to know you have to have a plan. You got to stick to the plan and all those types of things. So, yeah, I think that you always want to go out to the more talented player, but you also have to look and see, are there some red flags with this player? Now, I think that from some of the stuff that I heard about Nico coming out, sounds like there were some red flags, okay? But it also sounds like this coaching staff was willing to take the risk on him. So that's what I'm saying there. You know what I mean? It would be, it would be foolish to say, hey, I would much rather have this 3-star guy, because if you look over the course of history, 3-star guys are, they're doing better than the 5-star guys. That's just there's a lot more 3-star guys than there are 5-star guys too. So that's another part of it. You know what I'm saying? Like there's only like a freaking handful of 5-star quarterbacks every season. Some classes will be different, but you gotta look at the whole thing. All right, I wanted to also get to this too, P. Let me see if I can find this. Maybe we can get to. Oh, dang! You know what? I was gonna try to show y'all. what the updated transfer portal looks like, but you know what we'll do instead, P? We'll just get to some more of these chats, and then we'll go ahead and wrap this thing up. Let me see. So right here. All right. So saying that I think that McIntyre looked okay. Yes, he did. He looked like a very good athlete. He was pretty accurate in the orange and white game for a young. Yeah, man. Maybe Nico knew he might not have been the best quarterback. Yeah. So I mean, I disagree with that. I don't think that. Yeah. I don't think that would be true. I think that Nico knows that he was the best quarterback inside of the room.
Yeah. I mean, if he's implying that Nico transferred because he was scared of losing his starting job, I don't think that has anything to do with it at all. Yeah,
I don't think so. So Milton was literally a 6-year senior, and he better have been a good leader at that point. So it looks like that's a conversation. That's a different conversation right there. So this right here is from Sheila K. It's saying, LOL, offensive line trash. Yeah, I guess that is why Sam's had a great year. If you are talented, it doesn't matter. Be a baller and to make a play. Hold on, I had to make this bigger because my screen is really small. These letters are super small. To make a play, and I watched every time Nico was on the field. Hooker was a 3-star. Okay, so I don't know exactly what you might be talking to somebody else with that because I'm not exactly sure. Yeah, I've never said that Tennessee's offensive line was trash. Did I ever say that, Pete?
No.
Yeah, I don't think that I ever said that. So she might have been talking to somebody else. All right, so let's see. Let me see what else is Sheila talking about. She says, so we need a quarterback. I can't be hit. I have no IQ. By the way, when the game is on the line, I will run out of bounds. No, thank you. Can't let that guy run your program when he is not as talented. Okay, so I guess I think that people tend to like misconstrue having talent versus how you play, because those are two different things. You can be very, very talented and not play great. That's 100% true. And yeah, if you feel like he was holding this team hostage, okay. I know that a lot of people gave Urban Meyer hell for this. And I'm not saying that, I think that the way that he says things probably rubs people wrong. But there's a lot of truth in what he said. And people, you might not realize it right now, but at some point, once we get into the season, you might start to realize, hey, especially with some of the things that are coming out saying that we had the money to actually get Nico paid. Now, I do. After I heard more things, I said, you really couldn't have paid him. But I still am kind of going back and trying to figure out how could we have made that work? Because now we're in a really tight situation. That's just how I feel. So, if Tennessee, let's just say if Tennessee goes 6-6, I'm not saying that is going to happen or not. But if it does happen, will you still say the same thing? Will you say, hey, it was worth it for us to stand on business right here and barely make it to a bowl game and maybe lose to all of our rivals? Like, you have to understand what you're asking for. I guess that this is my whole thing here, P, is it's like, if you want to get rid of Nico, that's perfectly fine. Again, I think that it probably was hindsight. That was probably the right thing for us to do, just the way that things were kind of going. But if you if you're like, man, look, like we're just gonna let him go and we're gonna be just fine, I think that that's a little bit. I don't know how realistic that is. Like, what's your answer to bring in someone that is going to do more for this team than what Nico did, or just as much? And I don't even think that you know what I'm saying. Like, I guess that's kind of where.
I mean, if you're going to
make any sense.
It makes perfect sense. I mean, I think if you're going to, like you said, maybe getting rid of Nico was the right thing to do based on everything that's kind of come out about the situation. But at the same time, and all these people who kind of talk about how bad of a player he was, at the same time, don't expect this team to be better now that he's gone. Now that we lost our starting quarterback, who was a 5-star, who not just us on this channel, but a lot of analysts and people will tell you is a generational type talent. Don't be surprised if this team, like you said, only wins maybe 6 games. Like, don't be surprised if we take a step back. Don't start calling for Heupel's head after you're applauding the decision to let Nico go now. In the spring. Don't be surprised, when we get to November, end of the season, and we've won 6 games. Don't say, "Oh, he's got to go," because he lost a starting quarterback, right? Like, he lost probably the best part of the whole team. So don't just because he's gone, don't start to kind of talk bad about him just because he's gone. Because when he was here, heck, he was the best quarterback in the country for my money. So
yeah,
and I still feel that way about him.
Yeah, and so these are just some of the stats from some of the players that we had looked at early on as far as quarterbacks go. You know what I'm saying? And I want to kind of leave this up here because I do want to talk some more about, well, maybe we've already kind of talked about it, just as far as what is realistic, what is feasible, and how quickly can we move on somebody. I just don't know that any of these names that we're seeing up here is going to be feasible. So,
yeah, you know what? Only one I could see potentially maybe is the guy from Arizona, Noah.
Oh yeah, Noah.
Only reason I say that is because I'm not sure what they went last year, but just watching some of his film, like, I don't think his O-line was very good last year, and I know he lost his best receiver. So he's a guy that could maybe be saying, like, heck, my team sucks, I want to get out of here. So maybe he wants to freaking move. But I don't know about necessarily the rest of these guys, how realistic it is.
Yeah, shoot, yeah, he 18 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. Yeah. People do think that that it's easier to not throw interceptions in Coach Heupel's offense. I look at his size, honestly speaking. I'm looking at his size. 5'10", about $190.
Yeah.
And that turns me off. I say, I don't know. I know a lot of people was talking about Hoover too. So Hoover's all the way down at the very, very bottom. And Hoover, for me, I just don't think that he had the arm talent. But P, you said that you felt differently with him. I don't even think that he's a realistic option either. But you said that you felt differently with his arm talent and things like that, didn't you?
Yeah. I thought the ball came off his hand pretty well.
Yeah.
Had good numbers. And this is, again, you look at Nico's numbers, like you said, that's not something that you can't replace just in terms of the production. But I think a lot of that too, teams are having the game plan for his legs. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're having a game plan. And then what the stats don't show is the plays when we just run vertical routes, nobody's open. He extends plays, throws it away, completes a pass, runs, gets 6 yards. Like, that doesn't show up, which with a normal quarterback, those are 6-7 yard losses for a sack. You know what I'm saying? So just things to keep in mind. Yeah.
So I had to get back to this one right here from Kevin Smith. And listen, I also want to let you know, I know I said it earlier, but I wasn't going off on you. I don't want for you to think that by any means. It had nothing to do with you. But he's also saying that he's thinking that as far as players or lawyers pushing back. Okay, yeah. I think there's going to be pushback. Like I kind of went on that rant and said, until they get it totally fixed, there's always going to be pushback because nothing that they're doing is legal. Like, they're trying to get like legal passes and stuff from Congress instead of just doing the right thing. So please don't get me back started because I'll end up going all the way off. And so for my dog right here saying, okay, yeah. So I think that he might end up starting. I think that's probably is going to be one of our better options. Yeah. Yeah, don't like Nico. Won't like the evidence with the numbers yet. For sure. You know what I'm saying? And I wanted to just pull this up just to show, you know what I'm saying? Like, so that y'all could see everything. And these were the top 5 that P and I had. But either way, I think that that's going to do it, man. I'm hoping that we get some more news about some of these players, especially about some skill offensive players. We need some type of a quarterback. Like, we need to hear about a name entering into the portal. Now, we know that we probably won't hear it coming over the weekend unless a guy like Nakos or something like that, somebody like that tweets out, hey, this player is planning on entering. Then, but I just don't think that we'll see anything concrete, at least until Monday. And it might even be, P, I think that the schools might be off on Monday, maybe. So we might not know maybe until Tuesday. So we might just have to keep our fingers crossed. But as long as the staff is working behind the scenes, which we know that they are, I think that we just got to be patient. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're just going to have to be patient, and we're just going to have to trust this whole process. I think that we will find a way to get it figured out. But all that I will say to end y'all with is this. If it doesn't look great this year, we cannot turn on this team. We can't turn on the coaches. And I just think that, we got to give some grace because this is a very tough situation. Very, very tough. So, P, do you have any closing thoughts?
No, I echo what you said, man. We just lost our starting quarterback right after spring practice, pretty much. So we're in a tough spot. You're bringing in, Merck, he's put in the same situation Nico was last year, except the only difference is Nico knew that he was going to be the guy. Merck just found out, like a week ago. So, and he's not as talented physically as a Nico, but I think it's a guy, maybe can get it together and get it going for us. But yeah, I'll just say that too, man. Like the more vocal we are on Twitter, like the recruits and stuff see that stuff. So when we're talking negative and bashing the team, bashing the players, bashing the coaches, recruits are actually seeing that. I know we don't like to think as fans that we have an impact, but we do. When we say dumb stuff, they see that and they say, man, I don't like that fan base. So just be careful. I think most people that watch our show, I think that most of them get it.
Yeah.
But just spread the word to anybody you can,
Yeah, for sure. All right, y'all. Thank you. We'll probably be seeing y'all a little bit later on. Maybe not tomorrow, just because it is Easter and everything, but we will be seeing y'all unless there is some news. If there is some news, then I will be back. But thank y'all. Please do make sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks. Peace.